And as you mentioned, you just now mentioned that you want your employees to grow. You are offering them learning opportunities, which is not that common in other companies, which only give salaries and that's it. They don't care for you. And even you mentioned while you are talking now about TC University, which is Tasty Catering University. What's the unique learning offering that TC University provides, which is not there in other entrenched universities out there?
Well, we all have a desire for lifelong learning. You're a very educated man. Congratulations on what you have done to continue with school like you did. I respect you very much for that. I think all of us have that desire to learn. And if you don't have the desire to learn, I don't want to be your friend because you just want to learn a little bit and then you don't want to learn anymore. But all the things that I've learned in my life, why don't I have a formal opportunity to teach others, to teach our employees? So we have like 10 different courses you can take, and you have to spend 8 hours of your work life at Tasty Catering. In 1 year, you can spend 8 hours being paid on company time to take courses at TC University. And that's any one of our companies. It could be the marketing company, the food manufacturing company. But you go in and you take a course. The first course that's mandated is culture. It's a 90-minute class about our culture. And you take that within 3 days of being hired. And it's taught by me, and it's about what does this mean and how does it impact us. And we tell the stories of how this is built over the years, and we put into action each one of the values. Tell a story about how an employee did something good using a value. The second one is leadership, because I want the employees to understand what motivates us as leaders. They're team captains, the department captains, the event captains. I want us all to lead the same way. There's the right way to lead and there's a wrong way. For example, there's a thing called an amygdala hijack. And amygdala, I wish I knew the Arabic word for it, but the amygdala sits behind the neocortex. And it's fight or flight. It's the emotional. So if I yell at an employee, the amygdala gland cuts off the neocortex, the ability to think, and it turns a person into emotions, rage, anger, hostility, and it leads to bad chemicals, cortisol going through the system. But if I treat people with respect and dignity, it stimulates from the neocortex oxytocin, which is a positive chemical in our bodies, which is called the love drug by medical experts. So do you want a company filled with angry people or loving people? Well, then as a leader, we don't yell. It's against the rules of Tasty Catering to ever yell. We don't raise our voices. We don't make fun of people. We don't gossip. That creates amygdala hijacks. Instead, we have conversations, and the more sensitive the conversation, the more the impact for love, for caring. You know, when you tell somebody, this is something that I don't think you're doing right, and this is how it's affecting others, and this is the core value that you might be breaking, then you feel, first you're defensive, but then you feel grateful that someone pointed this out to you. So we teach everybody in the company how to lead. Another one of the interesting things is we have some very low-level jobs. I mean, very low-level, washing dishes, for example. And not everybody understands finances. Not everybody understands budgeting. Not everybody understands planning for the future. So one of our people in the finance department is a certified financial planner. She used to do financial planning for America's great athletes, basketball players, football players. She used to personally plan their finances. And then her company was sold and merged with a company that had a terrible culture. And she left that company to come work for us because of our culture. So we have her teach budgeting and financial planning to dishwashers so they know how much money to put aside to wait for their days when they retire. And when families are buying a house, she helps them make a decision on what can they afford, what can't they afford, and how to get better interest rates and how to invest their money. And then she makes recommendations if we should loan employees money, because we loan money to our employees all the time for family needs, not for new cars they don't need or something, but for family needs. If they get into a problem, we can help them. But they have to sit down with this woman and they have to explain to her what they did. So all of this is built around the employee, about what they're thinking. So we offer food sciences. So we had one young lady go from being an entry-level culinarian to becoming our number 2 chef, our sous chef. It took her 4 years to go through. We paid for it. This was an outside part of TC University. We paid for her to go to a culinary school and become a chef. She's been with us 13 years. 6 of them as our sous chef. And that's how you build this loyalty. And this is how you build this tremendous engagement. Because Ahmed, I'm going to explain something to you I learned. And I'm just a stupid guy, but I'm an old guy that learned things along the way. And I always thought that financial performance was the thing owners and leaders should focus on, right? Yeah. We want to hit our goals. In the beginning, I introduced you to Erin, who came in and helped me set up this conference system because I don't even know how to do Zoom. But she said to me in 2006, she called me Chief Culture Officer, and she said, that's the title we gave you, the Good to Great Council. You're going to be our Chief Culture Officer. And I said, what does that mean? And she drew organizational behavior on the whiteboard. She drew antecedents, A, leads to B, behaviors, which leads to C, consequences. She said, you have been focused on consequences your whole business career. We want you to focus on behaviors. We want you to enforce the culture. We gave you the antecedents. Our employees created the culture, the whole culture, vision, mission, values. They created all of it. And she said, it's up to you now to enforce that. Because if you enforce the behaviors, we don't have to worry about the consequences. They'll be good. That girl, by the way, was a professional soccer player until she had a hip injury. She scored top of her class in grammar school, high school, and college. Number 1 in her graduate class and all of them, and even in the master's program at a university in Chicago. She only 1 B+ in her whole life. The rest were the top grade you can get, and that was when she left professional soccer. Brilliant, brilliant person. And what happened at that point, Ahmed, is that I changed my thinking to focusing on people and their behaviors. So now I'm the top owner of the company. I'm the number 1 guy, right? But my whole focus every day is on people. It's not about how much money we did. I look at that when I have coffee in the morning or something. But I walk around and I look at eyeballs and I look at faces and I study nonverbal behavior. And I can look out a window into a manufacturing of our food processing and I can look at people's faces and say, Carlos does not look happy today. What's bothering Carlos? And I go out and talk to Carlos. And that frees up his discretionary thinking when he shares his problem with me. And he knows I really care about him. And I knows I'm not going to leave until I get an answer. He's going to tell me. If I have to say, we're going to go for a walk and sit down in a room and tell his supervisor, no, he's going to be with me. Get someone else to take his job. But then the people know the number 1 guy in the company, his only job is caring about me. And what do you think they give back? My number 1 job is making sure Tom's company works well. So Erin was spot on when she said, you need to focus on the behaviors of the company, not the outcomes. You can't work backwards in this formula, she told me. You have to work from left to right, not right to left. You have to take antecedents, then behaviors. Then. So here, you mentioned earlier about academics, right? I love academia, and I've spoken at the Academy of Management probably 15 times in the last 9 years. In fact, that's where I mentioned Dr. Kim Cameron from Michigan. I spoke with him 2 years ago. And academia loves me because I take their best theories and put them to use, and I give them stories on how it all works. So we went through Schumpeter's creative destruction. We've gone through Kotter's 8 steps of change. We've done it, and it works. And then we can show them how, in fact, our Good to Great Council right now that's meeting on how to lead us out of this dismal 85% downturn in our business is following Kotter's 8 steps. Everybody has Kotter's 8 steps, and they know we're going to do this, and it's going to change the organization. So I take these theories, like another one is positive psychological capital, and that's HERO. Hope, efficacy, the ability to set goals and achieve them, resiliency, and optimism. Dr. Fred Luthans wrote the foreword of my book, and he is the senior thought leader in the Academy of Management on positive psychological capital. So when this girl had this problem at this event and the electricity went out, she just didn't sit down and cry and say, oh no, now what do I do? She understood her training about positive psychological capital. She understood the hope, the resiliency, the efficacy, the optimism, and sprung into action. fought off the depression and went right into action, took action steps. And I told her, this was positive psychological capital, and you used it. It's what we trained you in. So how many catering businesses, how many food companies train their drivers in positive psychological capital? How about emotional intelligence? We train all of our staff in emotional intelligence. So we take these theories that I think are applicable to human beings in our workforce and teach them through TC universities. And now they think that they are superior to anybody that does their level job in our city of Chicago. They're better because they know more. They're more educated. Why do you limit education? You know, there are people in our company that aren't from our country that came here as immigrants. They don't speak English. Does that make them stupid? No. How much intelligence do they have, but they've never had the opportunity to show it? We have a girl in our salad line that's in charge of making salads and sandwiches. That's her area of responsibility. She's one of the best critical thinkers I've ever met, yet only had 7 years of formal education in Mexico. Never had the opportunity to go to a college. But she's a brilliant thinker and can come up with ideas and thoughts to me. So I don't look at the person's academic background unless it's a technical skill like an accountant or a financial person. I look at what they're capable of and what their desires are and how we can mold them.
Wow. Really, your answer is very, very insightful. And I didn't expect that answer from you, actually. This is really, really insightful. When you really care for people and teaching them emotional intelligence for everyone, this is really a core. I know a lot of people who, after years, maybe 20 years or something, discover that emotional intelligence is more important than the technical skills that they already used throughout all of their lives. So when you are giving them this tool from the beginning, actually you are empowering them as human beings. And definitely they are going to repay you with all of their heart and all of their spirit, and they will give you maybe 200% or 400%, or whatever their capacity is. So really, this is very, very, very insightful. Thank you.